Hello, Seiiti Arata. More and more people are trying to save money by doing some unusual things, such as growing vegetables at home or even making handmade soap. This is a serious sign that certain things are going wrong in our society. You're hearing in news that inflation is going up. However, when you go to the supermarket, you notice that some products are still the same price. Sometimes they're even cheaper than usual. Now, attention, in these cases, you might be falling victim to shrinkflation. The name sounds complicated, but it is easy to understand. Although the price of the product remains the same over time, now you're receiving a smaller amount of product. In addition, the quality of the product is inferior. Even the packaging quality is worse. When you pay close attention, you can notice that it is all made of cheaper materials. For the same nominal amount paid in cash, now you get less product and the quality is worse. We have already described this problem in the episode number 249 of the Hello, Seiiti Arata series. The problem is inflation, but was there inflation even without the price going up? Yes, because the quantity of the product has shrunk. This is the concept of shrinkflation, when inflation is disguised not as a direct increase in the price of the product, but by shrinking the quantity of the product. And don't try to fight shrinkflation by doing something like making homemade soap or growing vegetables at home. Don't try to fight shrinkflation by making homemade soap or growing vegetables at home. If the price of a product doesn't change the amount that has been reduced, that is the inflation rate that you're paying. So imagine some toilet paper that is a quarter shorter in length. Effectively, that means it costs 25% more. In many countries, there are many laws that oblige the manufacturers to put information on the reduction of the quantities very clear on the packaging. This helps, but it doesn't really solve the problem. After all, you don't have much choice but to continue purchasing that product with the reduced quantity. Those who were the most outraged by this kind of disguised inflation began to react. They decided to fight the system by making their own products at home. This is why there are so many videos now being posted on YouTube, other platforms, teaching you how to make soap at home, how to plant vegetables in your apartment, how to even ferment milk to produce your own yogurt. These people may have the impression that they are fighting the system, but they are actually saving where they shouldn't. This is wrong. This is not how society should organize itself. Now, to be very clear, there is absolutely nothing wrong with making your own soap and vegetables or yogurt as long as you enjoy it, as it is a hobby. If you like doing it, that's fine, go ahead, have fun. I myself have pots in which I plant herbs like basil and rosemary, and I also prepare several products at home because I like to do this. And I know the ingredients that I use, and they are better, much better than the industrialized ones. So if you have fun doing all of this, if you avoid low quality industrialized ingredients, you can also prepare your products at home. Often, it is even better than the stuff that you can buy in a supermarket. The main question here now is money, is economics. If you think of doing all of this as a way to save money, to fight inflation, think again. Each person producing their own consumer goods is exactly the opposite of what the civilization process should be like. For society to thrive, the ideal thing is that each person becomes specialized in a job that they can do the best of their ability. And with each person specializing in one area, cooperating with commercial transactions, that's the evolution of society taking place, right, as a whole. Now, if you find yourself forced to make soap at home just because that one in the supermarket now is half of the size of what it used to be, there is something wrong. Homemade soap is just one example, of course. If you talk to your neighbors, you'll find many of them changing their consumption habits as a way to survive financially. This is a sign that there is a serious problem happening. The solution is not to go backward in the civilizing process so that each person produces all their own goods. On the contrary, the solution is to move forward and protect against inflation. Instead of looking to the past, focus on the future, force society to evolve toward inflation free money. Shrinkflation is simply an alternative name for inflation. Inflation is the devaluation of money. There are several inflationary forces. One of the most relevant is when your money is diluted. This dilution is inevitable, as governments have full control over the issuance of currency. They can print as much money as they want. As fiat money, the government currency, is unbacked nowadays. Now, what happens when there is a very large supply of a good on the market? It tends to lose value, of course. This is what happens when the government inflates the money supply in circulation. The notes, the bills that you have on your wallet or on your bank, they're worth less. This is the dilution. The amount of money that you had now becomes proportionally smaller when there is a large increase in the monetary base. It is always worth remembering the lesson of the economist Milton Friedman, who says, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, in a sense that it is and it can be produced only by a more rapid increase in the quantity of money than in output. In practice, inflation means that you can buy fewer products with the same amount of money, or buy worse products. Or take the double damage, you can buy fewer products and also the quality is inferior. This all happens silently. After all, the nominal value in your bank account remains the same. The number of how much money you have in the bank is the same. However, it buys less and less. Therefore, the best way to fight inflation is to use money that is free from government intervention. The way to protect yourself from inflation is to acquire property that cannot be diluted by a central authority. One example of that is buying farms with productive land or luxury homes on the front row of the beach. So these are all examples of scarcity, but they're also usually too expensive for most people. That is why Bitcoin is a more practical choice. Unlike farms, it is divisible into tiny pieces. You can sell $1 and buy a fraction of a Bitcoin for that $1 if you want. Bitcoin is sound money that doesn't suffer from inflation. Bitcoin is a scarce property that has clear and immutable rules for issuing new units of that currency. No matter what, there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoins in circulation. This ensures that your Bitcoin will never be diluted from issuing more units than anticipated. I have prepared a detailed masterclass on all of this. You can visit at arata.se/diamond hands. You have two options to get rid of inflation. Between moving forward or backward, choose the future. Now that you understand that shrinkflation is basically inflation in disguise, there are two options for dealing with this problem. The first option is to do what you shouldn't. See, in a civilized society, there is division of labor and specialization. It makes no economic sense to expect that each single person will be making their own soap at home and planting a vegetable garden inside of their tiny apartment or fermenting their own yogurt. Obviously, once again, you can do all of that as a hobby. However, if your main motivation is financial, it indicates that things are wrong. In a prosperous world, you should be mainly occupied with your job and use the money that you get to buy whatever you want. Your money comes as a result of your specialized work that you enjoy doing. And you buy products that someone else is doing, and that person is specialized in that product. Trying to do everything yourself is an inefficient option. It will take your time and indicate that we are living in a low level of civilization. The second option is to do what you should. By understanding that the central bank has the power to dilute your money, you should acquire scarce property of high quality. Until recently, the only scarce property of high quality was productive land, farms, or prime real estate, beachfront property. However, the problem with acquiring real estate is liquidity. It is difficult for you to save enough money to buy a farm or a very well located property. But it is very easy for you to buy Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is even scarcer than real estate. Bitcoin is the scarcest property on the planet. And this can be proven through mathematics. But pay attention, you need to use a smart strategy for this. In the short term, you will encounter unfavorable volatility. For example, there are Some people who buy Bitcoin today only to find that the face value in fiat money is dropping the very next day. Price drops, they are opportunities to increase your position in Bitcoin, accumulating more for the long term. Those who don't understand this can despair, they can have paper hands, which is the nickname that we give to people who don't know how to handle a financial asset. But today we will not go into the details of investment strategies. You just need to understand that it is important to stop saving where you shouldn't and have to start earning where you should. And for this, you can consider transferring part of your money from a weak currency to a strong currency. Weak currency is the one that can be diluted by the creation of new units. A hard currency is the one that has real scarcity. These two options symbolize moving backward or moving forward. You can go back to the times when each tribe member had to produce their own goods, or you can move forward to a world where money is a truly scarce property. Stop wasting time making soap or growing vegetables at home to fight inflation. Instead of that, choose the most effective path of migrating to strong money that doesn't devalue over time, doesn't get diluted. Stop looking back, as opportunities are right in front of you. Take advantage of the fact that Bitcoin is still in its initial phase of existence to enter this world at lower prices. For those of you who want to do this but don't know where to start, now I invite you to attend a special class of our Diamond Hands course. And you can see a special class right now by going to arata.se/diamondhands.